Good morning, guys. Welcome to Art Starts. This is Miss Rankin, and what we're going to do, guys, today is we're actually going to be working on really cool new thing. We're going to be doing some printing with a foam board. So it's pretty cool stuff. This is very economical. It's a little easier to do if you don't have the linoleum block. And with middle school, I know sometimes the linoleum cutters, they end up slicing fingers. So you need a few things. You're going to need, and you don't have to have this, but I think it helps. This is paper, transfer paper, got the foam board, and you're going to start with the same size paper as your foam board, and we're going to do some printmaking block ink. You're going to need a spoon and some printmaking paper of your choice. Okay, so we're going to get started pretty quickly. First of all, my students are going to do nautical designs, so I chose to do an octopus, and the tentacle is what I was really interested in. So the first thing you would do is you would create and draw. So you can research on Google Images or whatever else to begin to draw your form. And basically how I did this was I was really trying to find an interesting shape and pattern. You're looking at the, that's leftover from paper collage project. You're looking at interesting background, negative and positive spacing here. So, you know, you would just draw your image on. You're also going to be using different examples of, say, mark making, so your line will be useful in this. Decorative design, things like that. So you would draw your image in, which I've already done at this point. And the next thing I would do, so we're going to pretend that I just drew this. So the next thing I would do is I would get my paper and I would lay it over my foam board. Now this is where you can, if you have the transfer paper, you can put it down. See, there's two sides to it. There's a dark and a light. The dark side is going to go down. This is just old Xerox paper, actually. And then you would hold it down, and you would begin to press. And it's much easier if you tape it, but you would begin to press this design with a pen, is what I'm using. Because the ballpoint pen is going to move across the surface of the foam board a little bit easier. So what you would do at this point is you would outline and press down the whole time you're doing this, your entire picture. You can use a different color pen if you want to, so that you can tell where you've drawn and where you haven't. That's kind of one of those tricks of the trade. But anyway, and you would just continue to draw this. Now, I'm going to pretend I'm finished. This is just quickly so I can show you. But see how it's pressed down? Let me see if I can zoom in for you so you can see. But what's happened is it's pressing down onto the surface of the board. And when you're finished with the pressing down on the surface of the board, this is what the finished image will look like. Now notice that I filled in a lot of my background on this. The reason for that is I want the background to not blend in too much. Sometimes with the linoleum print, you can't really tell what it's going to look like. But now I'm going to begin with the final stage, which is going to be printing. So let me get my print tray. And you use your print tray and a brayer, fancy name for a roller. And I'm going to take just a little bit of my printmaking ink, and I'm going to make a line. Oh, come on, I don't want to get my fingers in this. Make a line. There's just no easy way to do it. And it's done. Finger tarnished. Okay, and then what you're going to do, well, I get a napkin because I'm trying to not get my stuff everywhere. I'm going to take the brayer, and instead of like rolling all over it, I'm just going to touch the edge of it. And the key here is to go back and forth, until you get a nice even amount of ink, because if you get too much ink on your brayer, it's going to fill in all of your little holes and you're not going to get a really solid print. No, most of the time, and I'm going to say this most of the time, your second print's going to be better than the first, because the first print, you're just saturating your board. I should have put a piece of paper down. Woo. Art teacher mess 101. Alright, and then the next thing is I'm going to just begin lightly rolling. And you can see maybe I'm filling it in a little too much. Can kind of get the idea of what it's looking like. Maybe a little bit too much ink, Miss Rankin. My husband says that I can talk to myself as long as I don't answer it, so. Within good reason, right? Alright, so the next step here, make sure you have clean fingers, because you don't want to have like crime scene fingerprints everywhere. And I'm going to lay it down. Woohoo! So, for those of you guys who are not seasoned printmakers, this is a messy job, man. Okay, so you're gonna sit it down like this. Try to keep your paws clean. Flip it over, and wherever it lies, you're gonna invest in it, which means you're not gonna move it. You're just gonna leave it exactly where it's at, because if you wiggle it too much, it will smear, and the register of it will get off, which means that it'll look like it's blurred vision. Alright, okay, so at this point, I'm gonna flip it over, and I'm just gonna smooth with me finger. There are smoothing tools that you can use. I just currently don't have one of them with me because I am out of my art environment, of my art room. So I don't have all of the things that I need. But anyway, you're going to make sure, and you can kind of see through this exactly how well you're getting it by pressing. Alright, and then when you're done, you're going to press down in the center of it. You're going to pull from one side or the other, straight off of the paper. And then you're going to look and hope for the best. Okay, so this is the finished print. And remember, it's going to be a reverse image of what you did. So linoleum, or actually foam board, and then this is my octopus. Now what this tells me is, realistically, I'm going to go back in and color this out a little bit more so that it shows up, the tentacles show up a little bit better. But anyway, that gives you an idea of how to do this project. So again, I hope you have a great rest of your morning. This is Art Starts with Miss Rankin. And I hope you guys have fun. Happy drawing.